Lake City. Hey, Jake, how are you? Salt Lake Jake. Salt Lake Jake.
Salt Lake Jake.
Salt Lake Jake.
Hello, everybody. This is Salt Lake Jake. Welcome to our show today. I've got my friend Pete here, and man, news has been coming kind of fast and furious. Well, let me take that back. Not really news, but rumors of news.
Rumors, tweets,
X's. Tweets, and in quote unquote inside information. And I mean, we know that the Pac-12 met and discussed a deal. And let's just start there, man. Let me tell you, from the leaks that are coming out, I am not exactly thrilled about this. We don't know the dollar amounts. People are saying it could be close to the Big 12. It could not be. It could be like an escalator clause where if you win a certain amount of games or we get enough, if we get enough subscribers to sign up for Apple, then you can increase the team payout. But man, it's just, in my opinion, if that is the deal, if it's 25, 26, 27 million and it's mostly streaming on Apple, I think we got to find a way out of this. It's just I don't think the market is ready for a heavy streaming content, especially when no other leagues are doing it, right? All of our competition, the Big 12, the Pac, the ACC, the Big 10, the SEC, none of them are heavy streaming. They're all on ABC, ESPN, CBS, Fox. College football still needs to be on broadcast TV or cable TV. It just has to be. It's too early to shift everything to Apple. And so if that really is the case, there's a lot of thoughts going through my head. One, as far as competitive value, I don't like it at all, man. I do not like it at all because I'm not ready for heavy streaming. But two, I feel like George Kliavkoff has completely blundered this entire process. It's been going on for a year, right? And all we've ever heard is, oh, yeah, it's getting better the longer we wait, getting better the longer we wait. No, it's not. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. And all the inside information from those that really have connections, like the national guys like Pete Thamel and Ross Dellinger, those guys from Yahoo Sports, etc., that really know what's going on, are painting a picture like it's just been completely fumbled by George. So, man, I'm not too happy with this. I don't know. It sucks because the Pac-12 was like my childhood dream, right? When I was little, we were in the Mountain West and the WAC, and I just had a dream that we'd be in the Pac-12 one day, and then it happened in 2011, and for a decade, it was awesome, and then all of a sudden, USC and UCLA bounce, and now the whole thing's crumbling. So
okay.
I don't know.
Let me just play devil's advocate for a second,
okay?
Because everything you're saying sounds pretty consistent with what the fan sentiment is on the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. Apple is the biggest company in the world. They're smart people. The escalator clause is like kind of a new thing, but it's like, if you're them, why are you paying for product 10 years down the road that may be terrible? Like look at what's happening at ESPN. They're shedding money. They fired David Pollack or just didn't renew contract. A lot of Steve Young didn't get renewed. People who like should just, like, you just think ESPN would pay for. Everyone has the ability to stream the games versus the Pac-12 network, which people just didn't have the ability to watch them. And apparently they'll subcontract the 20% of the inventory back to ESPN, because you need ESPN as a promotional partner. You need to be talked about on game day. You need to be talked about on their little shows and stuff like that. But let's be honest about ESPN's broadcast. I feel like they're recording the games now with like old camera phones. It's bad quality. The product. I mean, Rod Gilmore is like high up in the ranks now, right? You get what I'm saying? Like it's not all terrible from another perspective.
Well, I mean, ESPN is definitely they've taken a step back in their production value and the way they broadcast games, but it's still ESPN. It's still
You're right.
the
You gotta
leader
be
in
on them,
sports,
on
the
some.
name where people go. Here's the thing: is you fans will find the game regardless. That's not what I care about, though. Is casual fans that are flipping from game to game, they're not going to take the time to go to their streaming service to watch a Utah game. So let's say a fan in the South watching Texas versus, I don't know, Arkansas game, and they see on the ticker that, oh, Utah versus Oregon is a 3-point game and there's 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
What do most people do in that situation? Boom, they
Yep.
switch channels to watch it. But people can see that and say, "Oh, where the
No,
heck is
it's not
Apple?"
ideal.
I don't know. It's not going to work. And yes, from an Apple is the richest company in the world, but they also are the richest company in the world for making smart decisions for themselves,
Right.
not for their people they're helping out, right? And so the fact is, if you're going to go all streaming, it's got to be worth the money, and by worth the money, I mean more than your competitors. And it's not, from all reports. It's less than the Big 12 still. And yes, they have the escalator clause, but man, you can't forecast and hope, okay, we're all going to go Apple and hope we get 20% of our games taken over to ESPN. It's a bad deal, man. The
Well,
thing is
another thing to
frustrating.
consider though, and I'm not sure where I stand on it because I guess I don't know the details. But another thing to consider though is the second screen, and maybe they'll just have to like advertise second screen. Stream that game and then flip your channels on your TV or something. I don't know. I guess that might be too cumbersome for a lot.
Either
But
way, I mean, I think one day streaming will be in the subconscious of Americans and not a big deal. But right now, for the next 10 years, it's not. And the perception is that it
right,
puts us at second tier status. And the whole goal, in my opinion, right now is to survive for another 10 years the best way possible. Because 10 years from now, things are going to look different again. There may be super conferences, there may be more contraction, expansion, whatever. So the goal, in my opinion, should be for the next 10 years, what gives us the best chance to remain relevant and remain in the public conscious and make enough money to be competitive. In my opinion, Apple's not it. It's not it. I'm sorry. It's not it right now. So as much as I hate it, because trust me, I hate it. I think without the pipe dream of the Big 12 expanding or the Big 10 expanding and take Utah, the Big 12 is our best option. And trust me, I hate it. I hate the idea of being in a league where we have to
nobody wants to see
travel
those
to
games.
Orlando. I hate the idea of being in a league where we have to freaking travel to Morgantown, where this league added 4 G5 teams in the last year just to survive. I get it. It sucks. It's a step down.
Why is that better though?
It's not. Why is it better than staying in the pack?
Than staying in the mountain pack.
Because of everything we just mentioned 10 minutes ago. The streaming's not ideal. The exposure is terrible. And if it was more money, say 35 to 40 million, I could stomach it. But money that's less than the Big 12, and it's not even guaranteed, you have to hit certain benchmarks to hit these escalator clauses. It's just too early for something like that. And America's not ready to consume college football that way. They're not. And perception will be that it puts us at second tier status, regardless if it's true or not. Because honestly, man, compare league for league. Take the TV crap out of it. League for league, the Pac-12 is still head and shoulders, in my opinion, above the Big 12. Absolutely. You have better brands. You have the two best brands out west still, Oregon and Washington. You have Utah, who's emerging as a national brand. Those three are as good or better than anything in the Big 12. There's nothing in the Big 12 that matches up to that. Maybe Baylor gets kind of close. Maybe Oklahoma State. Those are their top two brands, in my opinion. But nothing matches Oregon and Washington. Nothing, and Utah, like I said, is the top three as well. And even, you know what? People love to rip on Stanford because their fan support sucks and they've been bad last few years. But their brand is still good. They went to 3 Rose Bowls in 4 years
Oh, yeah.
7-8 years
John
ago.
Elway, Andrew Luck, for sure.
Dude, yeah. So Stanford, I mean, agree, dude. Top to bottom, the brands in the Pac-9, the remaining 9 teams, are still better than the crap that's in the Big 12. But
so keep that together. Okay, I get what you're saying about, but how many Big 12 games did you watch last year?
I don't really seek out any conference unless it's a major win.
That's what I think it's a regional sport still, pretty much. And then you got the big games in the time blocks on the major. And I think ESPN is still willing to pay for Pac-12 content at 8:00 at night, our time.
I thought they would be. I thought they would be, but things aren't really shaking out like that.
But I think I think what's leaked out is this is the first phase, and then Apple owns it, and then they produce it using Pac-12 equipment and sell the rights to the nighttime games back to ESPN.
Well, if that's how it works out, I mean, that's fine, but I still don't think it's a better option.
So realignment. We're recording Wednesday morning. Arizona's like the next shoot of drop, I guess. That's all the smoke right now. How do you feel about that?
Well, depends on who you believe, but I mean, like I said, I've learned in this year-long process that you can't believe most people. Like literally, even people you thought you could believe are being fed crap. Like look at John Canzano. Like, I don't think he was making a single thing up the entire time. But what I've come to realize is the sources he were using were biased and slanted. I think
Yeah.
probably Oregon State's athletic director is one of his sources, and Oregon State 100% needs the pack to survive. They've got no
Scott
other
Barnes.
option,
Yep.
right? So you've got to weed through the sources. So what's out there from some of the guys that are more trustworthy as far as their sources. I mentioned Pete Thamel, national guy, Ross Dillinger. They are saying that Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah are kind of aligned in a block, meaning none of them want to break up the Pac-12. They don't want to be responsible for it. So it's whatever one school does will likely be done by the other two, right? So if Arizona goes, then I think Arizona State and Utah go. I don't know. I like I said, I'm so worn out from this that I've come to the mental conclusion that I've found a way to be okay with the Big 12, realizing that it's just a 5-6 year band-aid. You know, because everything's going to change again when all the TV contracts are up in 2030, and we need for the next 5 or 6 years to stay relevant, to stay in front of people's eyeballs, and to keep winning. And in my opinion, the best way to do that is to go to the Big 12. However, the thing that gives me the most pause in this is with the playoff expansion, it would be much easier.
Exactly. That was the point I was just going to make.
In the Pac-10, yeah, because there would be less teams to get through, and you just stay and you win your league and you get in there. But gosh, it's hard. It's hard for me to forecast what the next 10 years will be because things change so much. I mean, the playoff itself has changed its operating plan in the last 2 years from 12 to where all, you know, there's conference guarantees, and now it's only the top 6 conferences, but it's not every conference is guaranteed. And I heard Greg Sankey, the commissioner from the SEC, kind of hedge on that a little bit too, saying, well, if leagues continue to change, maybe we'll go back to a different way of doing it. So I don't trust college football to stay the course.
As it stands right now, Mountain West is in, right?
I mean, well, yeah, it would be the top 6 leagues is what it would be.
Then that's the argument to say Big 12 don't need you. You're not that much better. Yes, you're on TV for the people who watch you in the middle of the country, but the rest of us at nighttime on the West Coast will be watching the Pac Mountain West or whatever we are. And, you know, we have great production quality and we have a seat at the table still. And if we have a seat at the table for 5 years, why would you want to join another conference?
Well, I mean, okay, let's flesh that out a little bit. If that is the only goal is the seat at the playoff table, then why not just join the Mountain West and run that league and make the playoffs every year?
May as well.
You know, if that's really the only thing.
Well, you just got to matter. You just got to be in the top. I mean, we really have to matter for the final 2 that Whittingham's always talking about, like the final 2 mega conferences.
And you know what? Right now, that's what we envision things will be. But dude, it could completely change. Honestly, I did not put anything off the table. 20 years from now, it could be no conferences at all, and just a loose alliance of the top 40 college football teams. And that's it. You know, there could be no conferences at all. The problem is people that are pro. I've been having this discussion all week with like tons of people about this because college football is my life and all my friends' lives. Anyway, so the thing is I've had a friend say, yeah, but look at Major League Baseball. They stream. Well, that's great. Major League Baseball is not competing with another baseball league. Major League Baseball is Major League Baseball. They're all in it together.
But they are a regional sport. Yep. I get.
Whereas college football, like we're competing with other leagues that have different TV contracts. Like you gotta at least
money's not
got
equal.
to have you gotta be in the ballpark like linear wise and dollar wise. Well, and again, I table that with the caveat that we don't know the exact details of this deal as far as the exact dollar amount and how often linear TV will be involved. If it's acceptable enough where the money is close and there's a good amount of linear, I'm okay with it. If it's 25 million and 100% streaming with the idea that, but we'll sell some games at ESPN. Well, that's too much of the unknown and not good enough. You've got to bounce.
Okay, let's move on because we're all everyone on Twitter. We're sick. Let's just take a deep breath and talk about the team.
Yes, sir, man. As you know, I'm pumped about what we got.
Yes,
coming
back. Give us your take. What are you liking so far from what you're reading or seeing or listening?
Well, I'm liking. Okay, let's start with what I'm liking before we get to what concerns me. Okay. Liking the sound that the offensive line is going to be legit. We've got several dudes in there that are going to be. I mean, we've got 3 guys back that have started for a couple years, and then a bunch of guys that have meaningful snaps, right? So really, just kind of finding the right cohesive unit is what we need to do. I think they need to do it sooner and later because the more reps the starting unit gets together, the better, the more cohesive they'll be. I've got a joke with a friend group that we call it the stew. That we got to get that stew simmering, and because you want to make a good stew, part of it is the hours that it simmers and the spices and the ingredients meld together to make a complex, rich, deep stew, right? If you break out a Dinty Moore beef stew out of a can, throw it on the stovetop and mix it till it's warm, it's gross, right?
Tastes plastic.
So we got the ingredients in the stew that are good. We've got to let it simmer. So the sooner they get the offensive line together, to the starting group together, the better. But in Witt's interview from first day of camp, he said if they had to start today, he'd know who their 5 are. So that's good.
Yeah,
so I'm excited by the offensive line. I'm excited how deep the running back room is. Witt said Jaquinden Jackson is absolutely laser focused on being the best he can be. And bro, he played half of a season as running back, and as every game went on, he got better and better. You could see it. So now that he's had a full off season and he's fully focused, I think he's going to be a beast.
Is he bigger now?
What's that?
Did he get bigger?
He looks a little bigger.
Heavier?
He looks a little beefier, but he's also still got the speed, and he's just a player, man. He's going to be the breakout player of the year, I'm guessing, because a lot of people are as they say on Twitter, they sleep, man. They sleeping on him, right? So he's going to be good. I'm excited to hear about how the DBs are looking good. My concerns are these 2 things, which we already kind of wondered about in the offseason, but now they're really brought to the forefront, are 2 knee ligament injuries. Cam Rising did not participate in anything, and as we knew he wasn't going to. But there's a quote from Witt that really kind of raised my radar. Like, something's not as good as they're saying. Is when he said, "Yeah, he's out there throwing and in drop back, but we don't have him. We want to try to avoid him cutting and twisting and avoiding the defense. Like, yeah, not even getting hit, but just the fact that he doesn't want to
don't go lateral."
Adjust his weight. That's a concern that's not as far along as we had hoped. And here's the thing: we knew it was going to come down to the wire just based on the injury, which totally sucks. But I've got a feeling, and I heard him say if he doesn't play in Florida, they'll probably hold him out all non-conference. Which, dude, we've got the toughest non-conference schedule we've had in a long time. Florida and at Baylor. You know,
what about
especially
Keithy?
now with the conference drama, that Baylor game, I really want to win.
We have to win that game. That's a big game.
And if we're going on the road with a freshman, or I guess would Rose be a freshman? Did he redshirt last year? Is that right? Yeah. So Rose would be a freshman quarterback starting a road game in the Big 12.
That's essentially our BYU game, the Baylor game.
Yep, agreed, man.
So what about Keithy? What about Keithy?
Yes, that's the other one. This is the one that was actually kind of surprising because Keithy's injury happened so much earlier. It happened in the 4th week of the season last year, so he had 3 extra months to heal up. And Witt was saying he's not cleared yet either. And in fact, he didn't even participate in any drills. He was just in the weight room. So that really concerns me because we really, really need him to fill in for Kincaid, right?
I heard that and I thought maybe it's just because he's on his what is he? He's like 6th year senior or whatever.
Yes, that's my hope.
And it's like the NFL guys that don't really go to the camp because they don't really need to.
Right. But
is that a possibility?
Situations like that, they still are out there running basic drills. You know? They're just not participating in team scrimmages and things like that. And so the fact that he wasn't even doing a drill, but just in the weight room, that raised my red flag. I'm like, oh man, that sucks because as we know, our offense hinges a ton on tight end play. And Keithy, before Kincaid went down, was our number 1 tight end and was awesome. So we were just thinking, oh, no big deal. Keithy's gone. We'll just put Kincaid's gone. We'll just put Keithy back in there. And the fact that was thrown out there. So those are my 2 major concerns.
So is it possible this is more like the Tyler Huntley kind of team, like where the offense sputters a little bit and we are defense heavy now? Or even like the Troy Williams team? Is that what we are if we don't have those 2?
Yeah, I would say it'd be probably more along Troy Williams because the Huntley still.
Yeah, that's true.
Huntley could still air it out, man.
Early Huntley, not late Huntley.
Yeah, sure. So or the Travis Wilson type teams where it's
that's where you're like, dude, just get 1 first down.
Yeah, gosh, which sucks because under Cam, our offense has been spectacular. Like I'm talking like it's been a top 15 offense, which is what we've always wanted, you know.
Which we've never had. We haven't had a lot of those over the years.
No, so I don't know. That's the concern.
Okay.
I hope it's just Witt playing games and just being extra cautious. And then my dream is this, Pete. You tell me how awesome this sounds. Witt downplays it all. Camp. He says, we don't know who's going to start. It's going to be a game time decision because I guarantee that's what he's going to say. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Game time decision. Everyone's wondering what's going on. We get to the stadium. You smell the hot dogs. You smell the corn dogs. The band's playing. They play the national anthem, where they start doing the little music and they say, from the Red Rock Mountains to the south, the fertile farmlands to the north, the towering mountains to the east, and the vast desert to the west. We are the University of Utah. The Utah man plays. I freaking love that. Anyway, that's going. When coin flip comes out, the Gators win the toss. They defer. They kick it off to Utah. They kick it out of the end zone, and all of a sudden, everyone casts their eyes to the west sideline. Who's running out? Who's the quarterback?
Creedence Clearwater Blasts.
Bam! Bum, bum, ba, bum, 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 and Cam Rising runs out. The Babin Rising, and everyone freaking
Let's
cheers,
go.
Bro. That is my dream. I hope that's what happens. Because imagine the energy, dude. When that happens, when they play that Creedence Clearwater Revival, when we know Rising's coming out, people get pumped. If we don't know it's coming out, and then they play that, the stadium will go freaking nuts, bro. The energy will be insane. That's my dream.
It will be insane. I agree, dude. Good call. That's a good note to end it on for today.
Okay.
Because that's who we are. Let's not worry too much about how we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna be good.
This I know. I ran into a very prominent Utah sports media man in the parking lot of Dick's parking lot in Bountiful, Utah.
Okay.
And I brought up the media rights, and I'm kind of an emotional chick when it comes to this kind of stuff, right? I was like, hey, person, are we going to freaking end up in the Mountain West? And he was like flabbergasted. He said, what? I said, you know what's going on. He's like, are you kidding me? I was like, no. He's like, look, this is what he said. I've had enough conversations over my years with administrators, presidents, media guys. Utah is a valuable institution. They will end up somewhere. They will end up the Big 12, Big 10, Pac, whatever, but they will not end up in the Mountain West. I was like, I know. He's like, just trust me. It's going to be okay. And that's the message I want to leave with our people, man. It's going to be okay. Right now, it's unknown. It sucks because BYU fans think they have the upper hand on us. But when the dust settles, we'll be in a good spot, and we'll be able to still, be relevant, get good recruits, and prepare for the major shift in 2030 and be ready for when that happens.
We're playing for another title. BYU's playing for maybe a bowl game.
Yeah.
Like, just remember that. Just keep some
hypothetically,
context.
and we'll discuss this once it's all settled and stuff.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, what if Utah does go to the Big 12 and they've been waiting 12 years to get into it, and then the first year they're in before they even play a game as announced we're coming in, they would be devastated. And I've got all kinds of smack lined up, bro. I'm going to start, if that happens, I'll be saying stuff like, wait a minute, it took you guys 12 years to get in, and in 1 week we're in, and we've got more of a full share where you got to work.
I'm worried you just want to get into that league just for that smack. I don't like it.
No. Listen, I plan for all scenarios. I've got all my other smack lined up. No matter where we end up, we stay in the Pac-12. It'll be like, look, they wanted us. We kicked the tires. We realized that it was trash. This is the best place to be. We're still. Well, don't worry. I've got every angle lined up.
I got you. Okay. Well, listen. Let's tie it up. Let's wrap it up. We're going to be doing this twice a week during the season. Hopefully have a few more episodes to hype up for the preseason. And anything else?
That's it. Let's go, Utes. I am out.
Go, Utes.
Jake in Salt Lake City. Hey, Jake, how are you? Salt Lake Jake. Salt Lake Jake.
Salt Lake Jake.